Hello, so today we are gonna watch a 1939 World War II world map about country balls. And there's some, oh my god, I just hit my head there. But there's some flags which I cannot show, but that's fine. Because even the, well, I have a freaking, swastikas. But okay, let's watch the video right now.
War begins, all thanks to these balls. Speaking of which, I've got some
Yeah,
melon balls up there
obviously,
hovering
German
above my
balls.
shoulder, which looks terrifying, I realize that. I think it's a terrible idea that Poland is standing on their head right now. But yes, all three of those can be found over at makeshift.com. That link is
Dang,
down in the
there's a
description
blood.
below. So this is really the origin
not
story of
gonna
Poland. This
blur
is why
those.
Poland is always so
think-
terrified of Germany and
I'm
Russia.
gonna
Although to be
blur
fair,
those.
those are more like World War I type rectangles. So basically, I'm going to explain this whole map here today, which is obviously the very beginning of World War II. People forget what was going on in other parts of the world rather than just Europe, obviously. Like, what the hell is even that? And now that you mention it, so Soviet Union, wow, bro. Let's start with a very important member of World War II. That is the UK. This is England, Wales, Scotland. This is England saying, that's enough, champ. This is obviously referring to appeasement. The British were really trying to appease the mustache man, and that didn't work very well. Scotland also getting ready to fight up here on the British Isles with his, battle armor. Ireland at the start of World War II just really trying to make sure the Germans know, hey, this is Ireland. We are not a part of the rest of the British Empire. Not anymore, that is, at least. Meanwhile, on the lowland countries, you have a nation like the Netherlands literally just praying. Belgium's like, doo-doo-doo. They have no idea. They are literally the speed bump of Europe. France trying their best to hide behind the Maginot Line, even though that is literally what the Germans do. They just go around it. Now, this is still a couple of months before they go around the Maginot Line, but the war has been declared. This is their plan. That car is about to just go right over Luxembourg here. And again, Belgium has no idea what's happening. They just got their little waffle and they're singing. We are complete safe, says France. Stinky Germany will never penetrate the La Glorious Maginot. Now, to be fair for France, think about it. Put yourself in their place in 1939. Just about 20 years earlier, the Germans weren't able to conquer France in World War I. They think it's going to be just another repeat of the Great War, but no. France, you're about to die, bro. Italy, obviously led by Benito Mussolini here. Look at Monaco just chilling, well, with their Italian flag. I like how big France is chilling, yet if you look at the French island of Corsica, they look a little bit more angry. They're like, bro, maybe you're fine, but what about us? We're right next to this big fascist guy. The Vatican seems to be pretty chill with Benito Mussolini in charge. San Marino's literally sleeping. Today on Radio Andorra, Germany is still the big poo-poo. And finally, Papa France, Madmador. So these are the two city-states that surround France, obviously. Meanwhile, Spanish people, they just got done with their own little Spanish Civil War. It says, I expected to win less than La Spanish Inquisition. So this is Republican Spain. Obviously, they didn't end very well for that. They have a wooden stick shoved through their face.
But in the start, it shows the word, N-A-Z-I-S, or nods. I'm just gonna say nods, not with the E. And I'm definitely gonna blur that, but I don't know how strong I'll put that blur in.
Inglaterra, England, we're still friends, right? Portugal says. Oh, they're calling them on the phone. That's so adorable. The British colony of Gibraltar asking to send help. Then as we cross over, this is the beginning of Africa. So this is Morocco, French Morocco to be specific. Look, M made independent essay. They want to go independent, but I'm sure...
Made an essay.
So does all of French Africa.
Okay.
You're talking about like places
Why
like
did you
Mali,
make
Niger,
an essay?
Algeria. French Africa is staring over at what the Italians were doing to Libya in North Africa as well.
not
They're eating them like a
gonna
small
blur
meatball
the-
and spaghetti. That's pretty graphic, bro. So many of the things that are going on here. This is French Algeria, referring to, wow, look at that country ball. That's a crazy look. Malta's currently still chilling here in the Mediterranean. As we head over to the Balkans, now you guys aren't going to start this world war necessarily. You started the first one, but not the second. Albania here is about to get annexed by the Italians. Meanwhile, Greece is about to get, invaded by the Italians, or at least they're going to try to. This is the part of Turkey that's a part of the Asian Minor or Anatolia Peninsula. This is the small part they control in Europe. Croatia is already trying to break away away from Yugoslavia. That's going to be horrific. The Germans are going to take advantage of that, that's for sure. Hungary saying, let we into you, referring to how they want to get a big chunk of Romania. Yeah, Romania's borders were actually going to look like that for a second. So another piece of Romania just got pulled off by the Soviets. This is basically Moldova. The Sudetenlands had been pulled away from Czechia. Then we have just little Slovakia right here. This is the free city of Danzig. So listen here, you freaking degenerate. Oh, that might be the free city of Danzig. Anyways, all the Baltics, they're looking at both sides. This is so funny. Estonia is staring at the Soviets. Meanwhile, Lithuania is staring at the Germans. People forget that the Baltics were in the same situation. Very, very similar situation as Poland was here. Obviously, the threat did come from the German side, I think, for the most part for Poland, but do not forget that the Soviets also came and grabbed a big old piece. Here are the Soviets literally shooting a cannonball at Baltic face, or is that at Finland? So this is referring to the Winter War, which has been taking place for a little bit here. I think they might have had a brief pause at this point, or they're about to pause. Sweden, famously neutral, saying, this is none of my business. By the way, use our railways. It's all good.
Yeah,
Denmark already got the hat on. Wow, bro, it's a little bit early. And wonder what big fuss is about. Bro, you're about to go down in literally a couple hours once the Germans invade. And speaking of which, another Scandinavian country is about to go down pretty fast, and that's Norway. He's saying he's neutral, right? But that's definitely not how it's going to be. I like how it's just a shadow. Again, it's only 1939. The Germans don't invade Denmark and Norway until 1940.
Yeah.
Piedāvājums apotēka aptiekās jūlijā. Nopaza kontrola pret dedzināšanu kuņģī 3.19.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, just over what is the Black Sea, we have the Soviets with a bunch of their oil staring at all the chaos in Europe. Now, remember, the Soviets currently have a non-aggression pact with the Germans. Here's another Soviet ball saying, hey, Lithuania, I having a present to you and took it completely legally from the Poles. This is basically Daddy Stalin beginning his manufacturing. However, you got to think about what was happening in the years prior to 1939. They were going through some great purges. Stalin was awfully paranoid. That's Kazakhstan, isn't it? Oh, and that's Ukraine without any food. People forget about this, but let me tell you, Ukrainians definitely did not forget. They know what the Russians did. Here's more of Central Asia, although there are some Germans out here in Central Asia, it looks like. And here's a bunch of people in literal gulags. You're talking Soviets, but also Germans, even Koreans, Poles. We've got some Jews back here. Again, Stalin was a pretty paranoid guy. If he thought you were sus, it's straight to the gulag time. Of course, Turkey and Soviet Russia, or Russia in general, always big regional rivals. You don't own this, says Turkey. You don't own this either. They said, wait, you don't own Turkey? To the Turks, what? Remember, Turkey's relatively new. They just became Turkey. They were formerly the Ottoman Empire. It was the Ottoman taking a chunk out of Syria. This is French Lebanon here. Now we're starting to go down into the Middle East. So this is what is British Palestine. British Palestine has two little demons on their shoulder. We've got Israel, which is not to be created yet for another, like, 10 years-ish. And that's Palestine. The British controlling the Suez. Gotta keep my interests secured. This is Egypt, I believe, which is basically still part of the British Empire. Further down, this is also Egypt, but modern-day Sudan. Get out. The Saudis just recently hit oil, and they hit oil big. Obviously, it was going to take a much longer time for them to come online and actually build, the oil rigs and the facilities to get that oil out of the ground, but they're finding oil all over the place in the Arabian Peninsula, and the only person that loves that maybe more than the British are the Americans, of course. Towards the east of the Middle East, we have the nation of Persia. Long flag, best flag. Oh, wow. That is a long boy, isn't it? Azerbaijan being cut down the complete middle. One side Soviet, the other side, what is that? Oh, is that Persian? North of Persia, of course, is just more Soviet territory because all of the Soviet Union controlled all of Central Asia at this point. So there's a bunch of industry going on down here. We've got someone with like a little medal. This guy's just dead and smelly. Come on, Oblast. You need your minerals from Pinmar Winter Fertilizer. What? Afghanistan staying neutral, and then we head over into, this is what British Raj is looking like at the moment. And it's, surprise, surprise, complete chaos. People forget this is what South Asia was looking like. It looked like this before the British came, and even it looked like this when the British were coming. I guess it still kind of looks like this now. India has all sorts of different things going on underneath their borders. Lots of different cultures and religions and faiths, or languages, I meant languages. Nepal is up here, is for allies. Then we got Bhutan, who's sitting here very comfortably. Tibet is currently independent, and that's because China's going through their warlord period, so it's just China versus China, but they're going to eventually have to unite to defeat those Japanese who are about to begin to invade. Oh, this is Tanutuva, me, strongest nation in the world. I believe that's Tanutuva. This nearby is Mongolia. Further up is basically more gulags. This is the far east of the Soviet Union. There's not a whole lot of people that live out over there. These people are smelly and also not alive. Oh, the Jewish Autonomous Oblast. That's cool. Why are they robotic? Oh, because the Soviets are literally just building this from scratch. This is, I guess, what the Soviets wanted to create. This is the Soviet version of Israel, essentially. If you no learn, then Watashi will feed you book, eat paper, or oof. Freaking Western pig dog, Watashi, get me self. So again, this is already several decades of the Japanese Empire expanding. The Japanese Empire had already been expanding into the Korean Peninsula. What the hell? What the hell was even that? And they currently control Manchuria. They put the Qing...
What you doing, Japan? You humping
Dynasty
someone?
royal member in charge, basically, but he's just a puppet. The Japanese did they start their war with, I believe the second Sino-Japanese war was happening. Oh yeah, it was definitely happening, my bad. So the second one started in 1937, so 2 years before this map. Obviously, China has not yet united. The nationalist Chinese are still currently fighting the communist Chinese. Now, the communist Chinese have a little band-aid up here, and that is because they don't look nearly as strong as they would coming out of World War II. Right now, the communist Chinese are really tiny and very insignificant. The Allies for now, but is still watching you. Same, you stupid egg. Oh, so the Chinese United Front is beginning. Both sides are beginning to unite because they're all Chinese and they don't want the Japanese here. But there's also a lot of, there's a lot of dead Chinese. Japan's been doing some sick things. Remember, British Raj does extend all the way over to modern-day Myanmar, so that's why, there's some Scots over here, I guess, in Myanmar, but Thailand just officially changed their name. Before this moment, they were known as Siam. And the Japanese are about to head on over to French Indochina. So the French obviously had Laos, Vietnam, and Cambodia at this time. I think are these the Spaniards? The Spaniards in the Philippines? I don't actually know if that's Spain, to be honest. But yeah, there's a bunch of Vietnamese dead balls right here. This is the Philippines. All this economic prosperity will lead to a future bright. Is not correct, Japan? They don't know this yet, but... no, it will not be a very bright future for the Philippines. Oh, is this British-controlled Hong Kong? Impenetrable fortress. Yeah. Hong Kong was pretty chill, right? I don't think they were able to make it through to Hong Kong, did they? Sorry, at first, because they blew, like, some bridges. Eventually they did. It wouldn't be until... more than 2 years later when this map was made. I think I remember them blowing up something to briefly stay okay. An early sign that Cambodia is going to be turned into the Khmer Rouge right here. Yeah, because this is the start date of all the chaos in Southeast Asia. This is really the beginning. Actually, no, you can go even further before this. But the roots of the Vietnam War start when Japan starts heading over in World War II. The Dutch currently control all of modern-day Indonesia, so it's kind of messy.
Why you pour oil all over him?
See, monies are big. Is this an early Singapore? I think it is, yeah. So it's British Singapore here. Dutch are building roads. I have mentioned this before, but I was learning about why exactly there aren't more Dutch people or Indonesian people that speak Dutch currently living in Indonesia. It's because when the Dutch came over here and colonized these islands, they just thought it was easier for them to learn Indonesian. The Dutch people were learning the language of Indonesian people, which is a rare colonial thing that you don't see oftentimes in colonial history. This is U.S. Hawaii right here, and he's getting awfully paranoid with all of the, the Japanese people starting to... well, Japan, they're worried about, obviously, Japan and the rising empire, but the U.S. is starting to get a little bit nervous. I think this is referencing how the U.S. was getting nervous about all of the Japanese people that were currently living in the U.S. Yeah, here's Japan looking at it. They've got a lot of things planned right here. Control a lot of islands in the Pacific, as you can see. The Jews want to come here, says Australia. Well, if they want, let them. Meanwhile, Australia is literally on fire. Also, here's New Guinea. Is someone speaking to me? Get off me, you fry. This is East Timor that Portugal controls. Uncle Kiwi, this plan is poop. Meanwhile, yeah, New Zealand's gonna be sent to war. What island is this that the French control nearby? It's, what is that, Fiji or something? Oh, my bad. Yeah, it's New Caledonia. I knew that I had to look that up. It was definitely not Fiji. Isn't it fun being a pirate? So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things happening in Oceania here. Oh, the Tonga Empire lives on. Here's another Hawaii ball. Anyways, here's North America. So in North America, we ain't got no money in the U.S. Shouldn't have sold. Yeah, so this is the Dust Bowl. They sold everything, apparently. We got no monies right now. Still in 1939. Meanwhile, Canada is a trade board. They are a balloon. Interesting. This is Alaska, who's just staring at a napkin, maybe. We've got natives in Mexico. Arf,
ice?
arf. These are Mexican state balls.
Not
No
ice,
one
please,
buying me
ice,
oil.
like
There's a mix of
cold
Mexican
ice.
state balls and natives here in Mexico. Was this the island of Bermuda? I think the island of Bermuda is actually somewhere else. But yeah, this is Greenland/Denmark. Greenland is nervous for their daddy Denmark back in Europe because they know what's about to happen. Here's Bermuda, actually. Hello, sir. I'm looking for American Dream. Yes. Can you help us escape the no-no Germans in this St. Louis? I don't care much about your cause, so I won't let you into my country, says Cuba. America, can we into refugees? No, responds, I think that's Florida. Oy vey. That's
Okay, I'm gonna end the video. Bye!